Hello everybody, this is Barb Reed, the Wexford Stamper, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Pennsylvania. And today I am doing a video tutorial for this cute little Valentine treat box that I made during my evening Facebook Live just this week. So I featured the Love You Always suite in all of my projects this week. And this is a cute little treat box with a belly band design and a little flap here that opens up. And inside I have 4 of these Ghirardelli milk chocolate caramel heart duets. Let me get him back in there. And it just flops right over. Very simple design, easy to make. And it really does feature the beautiful papers that are in the suite. We have the Love You Always foil paper. In this I use Blushing Bride. And then we have the black and white True Love DSP. And I just pulled out some blends and did a little bit of coloring to make the embellishment there on the front. So a very, very easy project to make. And I will show you how to make it right now. All right, so what you're going to need first is a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock cut at 6.5 by 7.5. Then I'm going to bring in my Simply Scoring tool, and on the long side, which is the 7.5-inch side, I'm going to score at 3/4 by, not by, 3/4, 3.5, 4.25, 7. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it on the short side, which is the 6.5-inch side, and I'm going to score it at 3/4, 3.75, 4.5. All right. All these dimensions will be on my blog, and I've also included a printable PDF with all the directions and things for all 3 of the projects. So check that out on my blog. That is www.thewexfordstamper.blogspot.com. All right, well, let's get back to our project here. And I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to crease all the score lines before constructing our box. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get those all nicely creased so that we will have an easier time cutting our paper as well as putting the box together. I also like to apply my Designer Series paper before I put my box together because it makes it a little easier to get it down onto each of the surfaces. All right, so we've got all our score lines creased. I'm going to grab my template here, and this is the template we're going for this cut so that we can put our box together. So we've got to take this here and make this. All right, so you want to make sure you're holding your paper in the portrait mode, in the landscape mode with the skinniest or thinnest vertical strip to your right hand side. Okay, this strip is going to be the part of your box that you put adhesive on and adhere it to the inside of the box. So we're going to go ahead and cut this small little rectangle off here, then kind of cut the corner off there, and the same thing at the top of that one long rectangle. We're going to cut it off at the corner, and then we're going to cut the entire top portion of that strip off. So we're going to have just this portion right here in that first section. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom strip ready for making the box. And doing that, your long rectangles are going to be the bottom panels of your box. So these little squares are going to be the flaps that go inside. And I like to take the corners off those, wedge them a little bit, so all those pieces of cardstock lay in there nicely inside the box when we construct it. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to the other way. I'm going to turn this as well so you can see where I'm going with this. Okay, this right here is going to be the flap over section of your box. Okay, so it's the side that's closest to your thin strip, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut all the way down, all the way up on the vertical score line to the second horizontal. And we're going to do the same with the other two score lines as well. So up all the way to the second, up all the way to the second. Okay, then we're going to cut this off to leave the tab, this off to leave the tab. And if it's a tab, you know we need to come in and cut off those corners, make our little wedges, and these are the flaps that will fold in at the top of the box before we fold the big flap over. All right, the last big cut here is this section. This whole section's gonna go. That's this part here and then this smaller part here. Both of those are gonna go. And the way I do that is turn it over, I fold that one flap back, and then I just cut right along the score line. Okay, so now we have our box ready to put together, but before we do that, I want to go ahead and I'm going to take my corner rounder. Okay, this is the triple punch, has 3 different functions, but today I'm going to use the corner rounder and just come in and round the corners on that flap that's going to fold over. It just gives it a little more of a nice look to it. So let's put our template away now that our paper looks just like that. All right, and as I mentioned before, I like to put my pieces of cardstock on first. And I put lots of cardstock on this. I covered nearly every outside panel. So there are actually 7 pieces of cardstock, and all the directions and measurements for these are on my blog and on the PDF. All right, so I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm gonna start putting on these panels. Obviously the larger ones, oops, they're gonna go like this, are gonna go right in here. Such a pretty, pretty color. And the reason I didn't make the whole box out of the beautiful foil is because the foil really is not that sturdy. It's a sturdy designer series paper, but if you're going to be making a 3D type item, you want to make sure that you are using cardstock to build the box, and then you can use your DSP to decorate. So here is one of the little strips that go on the side of the box, and another one of those as well. This Stampin' Seal Plus is so great for putting together boxes. Really helps things come together nicely. This piece is going to go right up here. That's going to be the top of the box on the flap side. And then we're going to put the final piece here, right here. That's going to be our front flap that's going to adhere down last. So that will be on the bottom. So I just about covered every one. Here I need to cover my flap, but before I do that, let's go ahead and use my triple punch and round those corners again. Let's bring our box back in. A couple more Stampin' Plus. Oh dear, it's too long. Let me go ahead and get my cutter. Made this one a little too long. I think I made it 7/8 instead of 2 5/8. So let's grab this. I'm going to need to cut it off. Then I'm going to need to round that one corner again. So it's the 7/8. It's 5/8 at top, and not 7/8. So let's put that away. Let's grab my corner rounder. There we go. Nothing we can't fix in paper crafting. Now we're talking. That looks wonderful. All right, virtually every panel that's going to be showing in our box is covered now. So let's go ahead on this skinny strip that we started at with our cutting. We're going to put some Seal Plus on there. I'm going to turn my box over and then fold at the second score line and then just fold the other side over. Rub that a little bit. That'll give us a nice strong seal and our box will be perfectly square. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to put a little bit of Seal Plus here on the bottom. And we're going to fold in our sides, fold in the back flap, and then there's our front flap with our beautiful Designer Series paper on it. So that's how quickly and easily that comes together. Let's grab our duets. Okay. These were so cute. I thought they would be perfect for a bag. And then when I looked at the colors, I thought, oh my goodness, they must have known I was thinking about making it with this beautiful Love You Always Sweet. And it fits in perfectly for delicious Duet candies. So no friend of mine who gets my candy treat boxes is going to be sad about the amount of candy they get. I like to really, really spoil my friends. All right, so now we have that all finished, filled. Okay, it's belly band time. My belly band is 3/4 of an inch by 8.5. And the way I put a belly band on my boxes is I lay the belly band behind the box, making sure there's the same distance top and bottom. Then I just fold it around to the front, squeezing and pinching a little bit on each of the edges. Then I take the box away, and on all those edges that I pinched, I go back, I line them up to make sure they're staying straight, and then I just take my tool here and I make sure, using the side of my bone folder, that those are nice and well creased. All right, then I just go back to the box and put it around again, although this time I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the bottom here. So I'm going to put just on the last 1/2 inch there, and I'm going to bring it up. Make sure I'm squeezing down on the top and bottom. And there is your belly band. How great is that? Now you don't have to worry about that line being there because that's where our little embellishment is going to go. So let's go ahead and make our embellishment. We're going to use a 2-inch circle punch, and then we're going to also use a scallop that is coordinating. So here's my 2-inch circle punch, and how I made the little flower is I grabbed a piece of the beautiful True Love Designer Series paper, and I took my 2-inch circle punch and found a flower that I liked, and I think I like this one. And you want to look and make sure you have it lined up the way you want in that 2-inch circle punch, and then you just punch it out. And now we're ready to do a little bit of coloring. So let's go ahead and grab our blends, and I used for this project my Petal Pink blends. And I'm going to grab the dark Petal Pink, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a few little tick marks moving out and away from the center of my flower, just to give it a little color. This is basically a white flower, but you want to give it a little bit of contrast so it looks a little more three-dimensional. So that's why I did that. I mean, I'm not going to spend a lot of time coloring, but I just want to make sure that it gives it a little bit of contrast to make it a little more realistic looking. All right, then I have this little bit of leaves here. I'm going to grab my my old olive, very old olive, I guess is what I was going to say. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in all my leaves with the light color. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my dark old olive and I'm going to just do a little bit of coloring with that where there might be a shadow. And I'm thinking there would be a shadow here at the top portion of the leaves, just because they're kind of underneath the petals. So I'm just going to very gently just dab a little bit of the darker color. I use the brush tip for that. And then I'm going to come back with my lighter and starting in where we put that dark color, I'm going to make little tick marks moving out to blend that together. There we go. Now you have the darker color of old olive closer to the petals, and then as you move out, it gets lighter. And I like the way that you can mix the colors because then it's a more gradual change in color. All right, now I see this little corner here that won't glue down, so that's driving me a bit crazy. So I'm going to just take a little bit of my Tombow and put it there. Okay, I'm going to hold that for a second. There, now we have no turned up corner. All right, now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take my Seal Plus and I'm going to apply some of that to my scallop circle. And then I'm going to put my cute little flower right in the center. Okay, next I'm going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to kind of line them up right here along the center of my belly band, because we're going to put our little embellishment on here and we want to make sure it's very sturdy and it stays stuck, because this is going to be, the belly band is going to be the part of your box that's going to get the most use on and off. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my flower now and I'm going to center it. Let's make sure the belly band is exactly centered. There we go. And then I'm going to place that right on top of the belly band and push down on those dimensionals. There we go. Last thing we have, we are going to take a piece of Blushing Bride, that is cut in a 5/8 strip. And I'm going to take the For You stamp, and this is from the So Sentimental. I just think that's an adorable little For You. And I'm going to stamp that in Memento ink, Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to stamp it right onto this little strip that I made here. And hopefully the first time's a charm. Okay, I'll go ahead and put it right there. I like it. There we go. Then I'm going to grab my tailored label punch. This is my favorite trick with the tailored label punch. And I'm going to take my strip and I'm going to go into my tailored label punch. I just want to see how far we are from that. Center it from top to bottom, and then I'm just going to punch, and then it gives you a nice little banner tail there. All right, now since that is already on dimensionals, I'm going to just go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my banner, and then I'm going to place that right here on my box. And there you have it. There is the treat box for Valentine's Day. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always message me or check on my blog for all the dimensions, and this video tutorial will be on there shortly as well. So thanks again for joining. Next week, we will have some Valentine treat boxes for kids. So stay tuned. Watch me on Tuesday evenings at 7 for the treat boxes for kids. So thanks again for joining. Take care. Bye.